Hello there, and welcome to You Don't Know Her, the mindset podcast all about creating the best life for yourself, one by design, not by default. And very happy to welcome back Ally McErlaine. We were chatting at length about all sorts of different musical inspirations. But yeah, in amongst all that, I was very interested in delving again deep into way back, right? Probably when you were first maybe picking up a guitar or getting into music right at the very start. You shared a story with me a few years ago of how you'd kind of play the guitar chords on your hand without the instrument as well, if you remember that. But is
Yeah,
that is that something you do frequently? Is it kind of that was always on your mind and that was kind of helping you cement that? What was
yeah.
all that about for yourself?
Well, yeah. I mean that is so true. I was so excited about playing the guitar. Like when I had to go to work or go to college, I was to leave my guitar and I go on the bus and I was still thinking about my guitar and I was thinking like if I did that, what would that sound like? But now I actually think a really good exercise on guitar when
Mm,
you're first learning is to think of a tune in your head
mm,
or just like three, four notes, and then just pick up a guitar and see if you can play them
mm.
without trying to find them.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good um, way to actually because now like a lot of the kind of best guitar players or especially improvisers, well, they don't even really play scales. I mean, they know the scales and they know the sort of rules, but it's because they've played the guitar so much they can know where the notes are on the guitar and they can hear the notes and they know what note they're trying to play. So
Mm,
they can so just pick up a guitar and play that note without even thinking about it.
mm,
And that comes from like what I said, like just trying to I mean don't get me wrong, you've got to learn the skills and positions and stuff if you want to play like that. You don't
mm.
have to, not everyone wants to play like that. That's only
Yeah.
if you have to be doing that type of stuff. But it's a really good exercise, even if you spend 5 minutes a day, just go think of like four notes, then go, okay, play them on the second string or play them on the fifth string and play them on it's all the different strings of the guitar,
Mm,
and then they will start to see the connections there. Um, Another good thing is like to know where all the if you're just learning and you want to kind of learn the fretboard, a really good thing is to know where all the notes are on the fretboard, but it's very difficult to learn
mm.
because the guitar's laid out in a quite a complicated way because they're all over the place. But if you spend like say 10 minutes and go, okay, right, for this 10 minutes, I'm just going to learn where all the D notes are on the guitar.
Mm.
And you do that for 10 minutes and then you know what I mean? So the
Yeah.
next time you go for a D, there's a D there, there's a D there, there's a D
Yeah.
there. And then the next day do a different note and then learn. And then if you just keep doing things like that, you'll quickly know where everything is
Yeah.
on the guitar. But the important thing is to do small bits at a time,
Mm.
not
Yeah.
take on loads of things and make it really complicated because it's not complicated.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of once you've learned that, you know it for life. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the thing. That's the big thing you taught me. I mean, when we first met, I couldn't play any instruments. I've now really enjoy and can play songs on the guitar now as well, and writing some of my own stuff as well. But at the time, that was the thing that you taught me the most. I think was to say, right, play this chord, whatever it may be, an E chord or whatever, and say just enjoy that the fact that you've played that, and that was the difficulty. I think the thing before that was I wasn't enjoying what I was playing or, for what it was. I'd previously taken guitar lessons when I was a teenager and probably got frustrated that I wasn't progressing as fast as I maybe thought I would. I was coming in with a mindset of thinking, right, I love Aerosmith, for example, at the time. When I'm playing Aerosmith songs, but and it is a journey. You need to take time to get to that stage, don't you?
yeah, I mean, thing is, it's not like a sport. It's not a competition.
Mm,
So it's like everyone plays different. You can give like a guitar to 10 people, all of them will play an E chord, and it will all sound very different from each
mm,
other
mm.
because it depends. There's a lot of things. It depends on the angle you hit strings, what pick you use, what amp you use, what pedals you're using, what sound, what guitar you've got. where you are, what the reverb in the room is.
Mm,
So there's a lot of variation in guitar.
mm,
So, and it's a bit like people speaking, not even saying, just speaking.
mm.
You can recognize somebody's voice when they speak. Likewise, you can recognize somebody playing the guitar because everyone plays it different.
Yeah.
It's like Jimi Hendrix can't play like Martin Knopfler. Martin Knopfler can't play like Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
It's like everyone just does it different. And it's
Yeah.
not a competition. It's like it's I find it interesting when I hear new people playing the guitar, what they come up with, because
Mm,
they're not going to play the cliches. They're going to come up with what's in them. Because
yeah.
I'm teaching a couple of like sorry, quite young teenagers at the moment guitar,
Mm,
and they're really good, but
mm,
they don't play any of the cliches.
mm.
I mean, you get they haven't learned all the Led Zeppelin songs. They haven't learned all the Beatles songs. I mean, they don't even know what they are, so they're
Yeah.
doing new stuff, which is cool. So
Yeah, I think that applies for everything. I think it's great to have the inspirations to draw from, but I think it's good to have. So from my own side, I'm a massive tennis fan as well. I play a lot of tennis and watch a lot, and you
nice.
see certain players have different play styles that suit different things. So, for example, Rafa Nadal is the king of clay, and he's won 14 Grand Slams at the French Open because that suits him and that suits his play style of,
Yeah,
very heavy topspin and all this sort of stuff. Whereas you put him against someone like Djokovic, and 9 times out of 10, Djokovic will beat him on every other surface. It's just
yeah, yeah.
it's different things for every walk of life, really, isn't it?
That's cool. I like tennis. I'm not very good at it, but
God.
I used to be quite good at tennis, but oh shit. Sorry.
That's fine. Yeah, yeah, no,
Um,
it's a strange one, tennis. It took me years to get to a point where I could, happily hold a game, but on with well, there's a new
that's a
thing called
it's really,
pickleball. Sorry.
sorry, it's really good for fitness as well, tennis.
Yeah, as you're running around, yeah, there's a few racket sports like that. Squash is another one where you're
Yeah.
constantly running around, and after 45 minutes in a
I
squash
think
court,
I played that once and I puked up after
oh really? Yeah, never again. I
it.
I've
I'm play golf, that's all. That's me.
Yeah, golf. Yeah, that's the one to be. Yeah, it's a squash. I've hit the opponent in the back with the squash ball a couple of times, which it's never happened to me. So I don't know. Well, it's probably me bad, bad accuracy. But yeah. So yeah, get back into the music side, and you obviously mentioning the different inspirations, the different successes as well. And you mentioned obviously when we were speaking last time, I mentioned about people like Billie Eilish, who actually this is what the podcast title's built around. It's her song, "You Don't," well, in my future, which is you don't. I'm in love with my future. You don't know her, which I think's a beautiful lyric. So for yourself, do you still get excited by sort of, or what do you get excited by about newer music or music you
I,
just music?
I always want to find new music, and
Mm,
that I never really listen to old. Even though I do listen to old jazz, but for me, I never listen. I don't like. I wouldn't play the Beatles, for instance. I wouldn't
mm,
put that because I always want to try and find new stuff that's interesting. And
yeah.
there is a lot of stuff out there.
Mm.
It's just, I mean, I really love. There's a band called Big Thief.
Oh yes, I like Big Thief. Yeah,
I like them. I like it, all the offshoots of them, or what all the. I find them really interesting.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
uh, but I mean, I think I kind of more go towards American music
Mm.
because I like the kind of. I still like the roots of sort of blues and country and stuff and jazz. So I like the American sensibility and kind of what's the word, slickness of American music.
Mm. Yeah,
E- Even from like it's early country through to like modern country via like the Eagles and like country rock and all that.
yeah,
Even bands like Boston and rock bands,
yeah,
Boston and Foreigner. I love all that Toto,
yeah,
like all that 80s rock as well.
yeah,
That's because that's kind of what I grew up with. Because I grew up in the 80s and I was really into rock. So I liked Boston, Rush. They were all the bands I listened to when I was like really young. But then I
mm,
get into Bowie. Bowie was a
mm,
big favorite of mine as well when I
yeah.
was. I discovered him late, a bit late when Scary Monsters came out.
Oh wow.
Loved the album at the
Yeah.
time. Um,
Yeah, you mentioned so many huge names there and huge powerhouses. I'm really interested. You mentioned the Eagles as well. Sorry, that you mentioned about having that maybe that album or that whatever it is. My mom actually she drove from northeast of England or when she was a child from northeast of England through to France, and all they had was Eagles. So they just had that on loop for the
oh,
entire way there, and
yeah,
yeah, they all knew all the words very
I've
quickly.
heard, I've heard my wife Shelley, her dad's Brian Poole from the Tremolos, the band the
Mm.
Tremolos,
Yeah, yeah.
you know that. So like you, he had
Mm.
a what's it called a Super 8. Is it a Super 8
Yeah.
machine in his car, tape machine,
Mm.
before cassettes? What's it called? I want
Yeah.
to say Super 8, but I know
Wait,
that's
see,
Phil.
I'm not
No, it's
sure. I know
Phil.
what you mean though, yeah.
Right. They had them on tape, and then likewise it was the Eagles.
Mm.
That just, and I think a lot of people that was probably one of the only things that was available
Yeah.
on that machine at the time was the Eagles, and
Yeah, yeah,
when
it
CDs
is
first came out,
funny.
it was like Dire Straits, Brothers and Arms. There was only like was the time when CDs first started. There was only about 5 CDs available,
Mm.
and all of those albums. I think one was Brothers and Arms by Dire Straits,
Yeah.
maybe Sledgehammer by and Sting. But because there was those albums and like the Eagles were like that for that new anyway at the time. Anyway,
Yeah.
doesn't.
It is very interesting how it shifts, and I know the top selling CD in the UK of the noughties of this century is James Blunt's Back to Bedlam, and
Is it really?
as far as I'm aware, yeah, and it really surprised me, but it makes sense because well, yeah, it was huge, I suppose, at the time, but then I suppose going beyond that, CD started to get a bit more phased out, and things like well, YouTube and LimeWire at the time and things like this, all these services had come online. But I was really interested because when I first heard that fact, I thought, oh, like you just said there, really, because
Yeah.
I mentioned it to my uncle and I said, do you know that James Blunt's Back to Bedlam? He was like, oh, I've got 2 copies of that. I was like, no wonder it's the opposite.
I've never even heard it.
No, it's yeah, and a few big hits on it to be fair, but but yeah, very interesting. And now, of course, we're in an era where I think vinyl and things like that's coming back. It's making a bit of a resurgence. Bands.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is just a nostalgia thing or if it is genuinely people
Yeah.
enjoy.
We're doing a vinyl release for our new Red Sky album.
Mm,
So
yeah,
nice because we've got nice artwork and stuff on it.
yeah.
My friend Ella May did the artwork. She's a really good artist.
Oh,
Um, uh, yeah, so I mean, I think it's good for that. But I do think a lot of people, even though they buy albums, but they don't really play them.
yeah, yeah,
They don't really listen to. They just buy it as a gift, and then 'cause they're trying to say, well, they've been trying to say, oh yeah, people are still buying vinyl, but the numbers are really small, and it's mainly as gifts for people that are never going to play them.
yeah, yeah.
And
I think.
they're really expensive,
Mm,
because they're
yeah,
expensive to make. They're expensive to make to actually manufacture a vinyl record and sleeve and all that and
that's yeah,
transport. It's really expensive. So
yeah. Yeah, it's the size of it as well. It's a lot bigger, isn't it? But yeah, like you say, with the kind of CD sales, the way some of the gigs I've been to recently, it's always the pre-sale. If you buy the CD, you can get pre-sale tickets and get a couple
yeah,
of days early access and things. And I've done that for a couple of bands, including Green Day when I went to see them in Glasgow, and that is still in its packaging. Just I've listened to the album, but I've listened to it online, like on Spotify or whatever. I've not actually. I just
yeah.
thought I can't be bothered opening that up and
Well,
finding a CD.
I think people don't really have that space in their lives anymore.
Mm,
I think there's too much. People are really busy just living now
mm,
and having a lot of distractions with iPhones and like all the hours you spend looking at your iPhone or your iPad. I
mm.
would have spent fixing the guitar when I was young.
Yeah,
Kids now, they just all they're doing is looking at a phone all the time, taking pictures for Instagram, whatever. And
yeah,
then all of that time's the time when you're young, when you could be learning getting really good at a skill. It's
Yeah.
like learning something to do. It's so I think it's. I'm sort of glad I was born when I was born because we didn't have that distraction. Do you know
Mm.
what I mean? And you had a lot of time to focus on what you were. So I really, when I was a teenager, I really focused on playing the guitar
Mm.
because I came from a working class background in Glasgow,
Mm.
um, and I was really bad at football.
Mm.
So I was quite good in school, but I saw music as a way out of that life, you know.
Mm.
Um, and
Yeah.
luckily for me, it sort of worked. But like, it was because I had a lot of lucky breaks I had at the time. It was like if Texas hadn't been formed and they didn't want a metal guitarist,
Mm.
I probably wouldn't have even been asked to audition for that, you know.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know what I'd have done. I mean, I was in a band, so, but I don't know if that would ever go anywhere, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
You do need lucky breaks to happen,
Mm.
and I think you actually need more than one. You
Mm.
need you need a few things to happen in a row to
Mm.
um,
Yeah.
to get to yeah to be, you just it's a lot of things in are like that in life. You know,
Yeah.
it's not one thing. You need a like kind of like a I don't know like lots of things to come together
Yeah.
at the time. You know,
Yeah, it's all butterfly effect, isn't it? It's all like you look at back at what you've achieved, and you think if for you it might be okay. I joined Texas, but if I wasn't in this other band, I wouldn't have been there. If I
yeah,
didn't happen to learn the guitar at this time, I wouldn't, and it's all that, and you can date it right back to certain key moments, can't you? But I feel like it's always supposed to kind of happen as it's meant to, and if you've got that right outset and that positivity and good things can happen.
yeah. But I mean, I always like I've always done music because I like it and I want to
Mm,
do it. I've never done music in a way that where it's like trying to get success or trying to like I've always really wanted to learn and play good and not and for me I don't even feel like I've got there yet. I'm still doing it. Do you know what I mean? I still
yeah.
because even if you practice up and you like so say like with Texas we'd be doing like a big stadium tour or whatever or
Mm,
tour and you'd be rehearsing and you'd be really sort of good because you're playing every day and you're doing these shows. But as soon as you go away from that and you're back at home, then you lose those now the calluses and the sort of all that. You have to keep playing to keep that up.
yeah.
So you can't let it go or else it just goes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like being a footballer or something. You've got to kind of stay fit, keep your hands fit and
Yeah.
your mind fit, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
physical, it's physical kind of thing that you're doing. You know? Not just guitar, but like any instrument or singing, even singing, same. You have to keep the muscles kind of.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's all repetition, isn't it? It's all keeping those good habits and developing them. It's very easy to, fall out of practice, and it's a slippery slope, isn't it? For anything, for like I say, music and beyond as well.
but I do like a lot of yoga and
Mm,
a little bit of meditation as well, but not a lot of that, but more yoga and yoga. It just really helps me to like focus on relaxing myself to play because when I do sort of guitar lessons, give guitar lessons, the first thing when you pick up somebody's hand, their hands are rigid.
mm,
You know, try and move their hand on the, and it's like you can't even move it. So it's like it's so rigid, and I'm
yeah.
just yoga, just relax everything, relax all your muscles,
Mm,
relax your head to your toes, and even relax all your fingers, and then put them on the guitar, and it
yeah.
feels totally different when you do that.
Yeah.
So if you put your hands on a guitar and they're rigid, you can't move them at all, and
Yeah.
doesn't feel. But if you have your hands like completely loose, like literally like hanging, and then just touch guitar, it feels much more delicate um, and more nimble, and you can move around. People
Mm,
try and press down really hard, and they just it's better to be relaxed. That's I mean that to me that's one of the most important um, things that people don't really say when they're giving guitar lessons and stuff is that relaxation thing,
mm,
especially because people are so kind of tense from
mm.
life normally. Um,
Yeah. It's
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 really important to do all that.
Yeah, it's. I mean, if you ever are up in the northeast with Red Sky July, my mother's a yoga instructor actually, so she can have you in her class as well. But that's that's been
I think it's really helpful for being a musician, like doing
mm,
yoga.
yeah. I
Stop
think
getting that you
I
keep
think
getting meals.
oh, that's fine.
Get that coming through.
Yeah, I think yoga and things like that for obviously yoga is more, stretching as well and breathing techniques and everything like this. But
Yeah.
everything yoga is about relaxation ultimately, isn't it? And it's a mindset thing. And I think that's so true with for example, Tony Robbins is someone who's the power of the mind, and that's his big thing. And he's got top athletes paying millions of dollars a year to work with him, people like Conor McGregor and Wayne Gretzky and people like this. And so there's definitely something to it, isn't there, of thinking, you know what, it's not just all about let's just go fully in on this and someone like Conor McGregor, right, let's just practice, train, 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 train. It's also about getting yourself in the right mindset and allowing yourself to be as good as you can,
Yeah.
essentially.
I just think yoga is like one of the. I'm so glad I've got yoga. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, I'm not really like I'm not like a hippie. I'm not like a hippied out person. I'm not like that. But
Yeah.
I like how I always feel better after I've done yoga,
Yeah.
and I really think it helps. It just helps just to like focus your mind and relax your whole everything about you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
it's power. I think Ryan Giggs did it whilst he played for Man United, and he obviously kept playing till he was about 40 year old, I think, which is about like a lot of players are dropping off in probably the mid 30s, aren't they, at that elite level? So
was that because of yoga? Was he doing yoga?
yeah, well, he says that he does say that that's a big factor of why he felt like he'd carry on. I'm sure that was the case for him, but yeah, and again, Djokovic is someone who I mentioned already, but he's the only player of the big four that's still on the circuit now, and he's just won his first Olympic gold medal at the age of 37, and none of the rest of them, Murray, Nadal, Federer, anywhere close to that.
Yeah,
And he's someone that commentators have said you see him around the hotel just stretching for 20 minutes. He'll just hang off his door frame, just stretching.
yeah,
And you
yeah.
think that's like, yeah, there is something to it, isn't there? It's
Also, it's something you can do anytime. You don't have to be at a class. Even if you're walking down the street, you can open up the bottom of your feet as you're walking, and it feels
mm,
like totally different. If you're
mm,
just aware of these things, if you're aware of, I mean, I'm not perfect at it. I'm not.
mm,
I just sometimes I do that, and I think, oh yeah, I can do that on my feet, and that feels really good.
yeah,
Because now if you just open, like if you open up your hands or that, do that to your feet while you're walking down the street, and it
yeah,
feels really good.
yeah,
And you can massage the bottom of your feet, and um, yeah, I mean, because I play golf, it's the same. It's like golf's all about relaxation as well. Because if you're tense in any way, you can't.
yeah.
So I mean, I'm really not the very good at golf, but I try. I try really hard. But I think I find that when most things are sort of physical things are because right, so if you like, so if you're playing like a complicated guitar part,
Mm,
right, and the kind of but for me, it would be like improvising and sort of just moving up and down the neck and doing. When you actually think of what you're doing muscle wise to do that, it's so complicated because you've got to say, okay, move that finger to there, bend that one up slightly, don't press it too hard, and then move it to there, and at the same time you do that, and you can't actually think of that when you're doing it.
mm,
So it's the same as a golf swing. You can't think of it. You've got to do it automatically.
yeah,
And that's why I'm saying, like, people should sort of practice just sort of trying to play without looking, try and find where the notes are without looking at the guitar,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
just feel what it feels like to play the note. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And then you go back to that and just actually, I think if you look at it, it becomes more harder. You have to look at first because you have to like work out where
mm,
things are when you're first learning. But once you can play a bit, it's really good to never look at it. I rarely look at the guitar when I'm playing it.
yeah,
'Cause it puts me off. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Because I
yeah,
like what it does. I actually can't. If I look at it, I can't actually do it.
yeah,
Because it's
yeah.
like it's quite sort of feel it, you know.
It goes off feeling, yeah. That's the thing. Like that was one of the big things. I looked at guitarists and I looked at them singing and playing guitar together, and I always thought that's like so weird, like having two different things and thinking about two different things. And I was looking and when you first learn, like you say, I'm just staring at my own hand and thinking, where's this chord and and getting in my
Mm.
own head and go, which fret is that again? And yeah, and I like to say it's the same with golf. I think if you get in your own head and you overthink it too much with some things, you're setting yourself up to fail sometimes. You're thinking, right, okay, I can't do this or I don't do this, and then your
Yeah.
mind's telling you, well, this is going to happen now because you've sort of thought about it that much.
I'm not saying I never do that, by the way. That's my aim is not to do that, but I don't always get that perfect.
Amazing. Well, Ali, we're there again. It's been another another full podcast,
I'm
but thank
just
you.
enjoying the chat too much like this.
No, I'm glad you had a good time, and yeah, you're always welcome back. It's been a pleasure to chat with you all things music and beyond as well. But just one more time, you mentioned you've got your singles out recently with Red Sky July.
Yeah.
What's kind of the upcoming show there for next year?
We've got a new album's coming out, I think in February, and it's called Misty Morning.
Hmm.
And we've got a current singles called Stones and Brambles.
Yeah.
It's on Instagram, it's on everywhere. You can just Google it. Stones and Brambles.
Perfect, perfect.
Um,
I'll pop a link to the album in my description below as well if anyone wants to check that out. But
yeah.
yeah, brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Ali.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Like, it's
Cheers,
enjoyable.
thank you.
Good
Bye.
luck.